Hey everyone, it's your old mate Shano here. Thanks very much for stopping by to check out this video. Today we're going to ask 3 questions about the docuseries Mr. McMahon. Those questions are: what did I like about it? What didn't I like about it? And would I recommend it? First of all though, let's learn a little bit more about this. This is a 2024 Netflix docuseries made up of 6 episodes. It sets out to tell the story of Vince McMahon, the founder and longtime CEO of the World Wrestling Federation, which eventually became World Wrestling Entertainment. It covers his life from his childhood in the 1940s through to his resignation as chairman and CEO of the WWE in early 2024. It also serves as a pretty thorough history of pro wrestling from the 1980s onwards, with McMahon's life and times being the thread that ties it all together. So, what did I like about this docuseries? Well, I'll preface this by saying that I did not grow up watching pro wrestling, and it's never really been a thing for me. I clearly remember it when it arrived in New Zealand because I was in primary school at the time, and so many of my friends were avid fans. And of course, every time an episode played, it was the talk of the playground. And of course, I got put into 1 or 2 headlocks. And I also remember from that time period how our local TV guide had full page images of the wrestlers included in its weekly editions. Despite all that, despite not growing up watching pro wrestling, I really enjoyed watching this, and the nostalgia tickle I got from watching the 80s and 90s style TV footage, and the reminder of how life used to be back in those days. From the docuseries itself, it was kinda sad to see McMahon, even now in his late 70s, tearing up about trying and then finally getting his father's approval. Given the brashness and the over-the-topness of pro wrestling, it was a rare human moment. I also learned a few things as I watched this. For example, I had no idea about Cyndi Lauper's involvement in the WWF. And it wasn't just a passing one-off thing. She was front and center for quite some time. She was right there in the ring throwing down. So yeah, there was definitely a few things that I enjoyed about this. But what didn't I like about this docuseries? Well, across the 6 episodes, around 50 years of history is covered, and there's a lot of people sharing their part in the story. Now, not being a wrestling fan, I had no idea who most of them were. The first time they show up, we get their name and their role on the screen, of course, but then they wouldn't show this again on screen. So for a good part of this, I wasn't actually sure who was talking and what their connection was to McMahon and wrestling in general. Also, for me, it started to feel a little bit too long around about the 4th episode. There's a lot of information to cover though, so I get why it clocked in at around about 6 hours all up. I'm sure hardcore fans of pro wrestling though would not find this to be an issue. Would I recommend it? Well, as I said, I reckon wrestling fans will absolutely love this. It's a very thorough history of American pro wrestling, both what was on screen at the time and what happened behind the scenes. McMahon is the connecting thread between it all, and that thread is woven very well by the filmmakers. So yeah, wrestling fans should definitely check this out. For people like me, like I said earlier, not a wrestling fan, but despite that, I really enjoyed a lot of this, especially that nostalgia factor. So even if you don't have a strong interest in the genre, there's some good stuff in here to take in and keep you interested. A lot of it's over the top, as you'd expect, but it's engaging nonetheless.